Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod with Roman Hipp. He is co-founder at Better Contact. We're going to talk about contacts and lists, name, emails, and so forth. Deliverability is an important topic. Roman was a biz dev guy at companies that you might know, like Amazon, for example, studied at McGill. And we're going to have fun today. This pod is brought to you by podpar.com. That's my podcasting agency. If you want to start, scale, be invited to pod, you can go to podpar.com. Roman, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and a bit more about Better Contact.
All right, Charles. First of all, thanks a lot for having me. Definitely great podcast episodes you've brought out so far. And yeah, so a little bit to myself, as you've already mentioned, studied most of my time in Barcelona, also in Montreal, like at McGill for a time. And then, quickly moved to the startup scene and mostly as you've already mentioned, in charge for business development. And then also tried out in the corporate setting, but I quickly realized that it's definitely not for me. So I went back to startups, and then I met Fred, who already had the software in place, Better Contact, right? And Better Contact is basically something that solves a problem which I was also pretty often confronted with. And it's about lead enrichment, right? Like finding emails and doing that in a way that it's efficient and doesn't take, first of all, a lot of time and also a lot of resources in terms of money, subscription management. And what he did, I already did in a manual way, like building automations on make.com or on Nathan. But it was pretty time consuming. I'm also not the most technical guy, so it was definitely quite a fragile system. And yeah, I was then recommended from a friend to Fred, and got a pretty big fan of the solution. And yeah, half a year ago, I basically joined them. It's still pretty young, but definitely doing some good progress so far.
Lots of competition in that field. How will you distinguish yourself?
Good question. So actually competition, there are around two real competitors we would identify, because of course there are a lot of single individual email providers, but we wouldn't see them as competitors, right? Because they're rather like our partners, because we basically incorporated them as a data source in Better Contact. So this basically means that we of course need them to also succeed, have the best possible database algorithm. So in the field where we are, in the waterfall enrichment, aggregating data sources, it's not that competitive, but of course there are a lot of new companies coming up. That's correct.
Right. And isn't it a race to the bottom, who charges the less for the most verifiable emails?
Yeah, definitely a good question. So as you've mentioned, in the individual single email provider sphere, that's definitely the case. So it's of course always about price. It's about who finds the most. But we as an aggregator do not only offer the highest email deliverability, but we also offer time saving, right? Because if you want email enrichment rate as high as we can offer, you would either build it yourself, as I've mentioned, in automated workflows by subscriptions. And we basically offer a completer package. So it's definitely, of course, also competing on price, but not to that degree single providers do.
Because from what I understood, you validate the emails in using 5 other sources through API calls. So it's probably not a race necessarily to the bottom if I am a company that wants that exact email. And if this email is worth 100K to me, I'd go and use your company at scale to try to get it. And if I can't get it with your company, I'd try the other. You also don't charge me if you don't find the email, right?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. So right now we have around 15 of these data sources aggregated. All of them, you probably know them. I mean, you're also pretty active in the lead enrichment space. So yeah, we only charge if an email is found. And at the same time, we also do several verifications of these emails so that they really also arrive in the inbox.
How do you get your own customers?
So basically, we started, so Fred basically started with a lot of like a large customer base in France. They're also very tech savvy, so I'm always open for a new innovation. So they were pretty happy that now it's all in one tool, because there was also a lot of automations going on, like workflows. And now, after I've joined, we like more focused on the North American market, also mostly through LinkedIn content. So this is definitely like a game changer for us. We don't have any expenses in paid ads, but rather like organic or referrals, mouth to mouth.
What's your day-to-day like? What habits do you cultivate to be more productive and more happy as an entrepreneur?
Okay, that's definitely a good question. So as we've mentioned already at the beginning of the call, so definitely sports. So I'm pretty active. So every day, at least 1 hour of sports, may it be in the gym or also cardio. That's definitely important. And also all the basics. I mean, I don't think there's like a silver bullet and always like something that is like a secret to the rest. So planning the day ahead, and also not eating too late, not drinking too much alcohol, all of that. Exactly.
What would be your top goals for next year?
All right, so one of our top goals is to make the platform more comprehensive, to also offer contact data, and on top of that, also phone numbers, and build our own LinkedIn scraper, like we can see with other providers, to really make it more holistic. Because now, to access our software, you would need to scrape it yourself from LinkedIn, and on top of that, also more like emphasize the expansion to North America.
What challenges do you expect on your way there?
Definitely also a good question. So we're like a pretty small team, right? So it's definitely a challenge to find a good and also, I would say, affordable developer team, because we have a lot of features that we would like to implement. So this is one thing. And I mean, as always, in a very early stage startup, the churn, I mean, we don't have that much of a churn, but it's of course always hard to plan accordingly, because of course churn is always coming in at some point. And yeah, North American market is we definitely have some established customers there, but it's a new market for us, so this might also be kind of a challenge, but we're definitely looking forward.
And you're still young in your entrepreneurial career. What you want to achieve with that startup of yours, and what's the ultimate vision of Roman in 10 years?
Also a great question. So to be honest, I mean, planning 10 years in advance, I don't think that's really a smart move, but definitely good to think about. So with this startup, like also together with Fred, we definitely want to create a tool that people love. We really want to like learn more about the SaaS market. I mean, Fred is already like more established, more experienced. But yeah, so in 10 years, it would be great to have like a portfolio of different SaaS companies. So you probably also heard of Lemless, like the Lampire. They're like a lot of different products that they have, and like offering like an ecosystem. This would be definitely great.
What kind of cold email campaigns do you run nowadays?
Okay, so normally what we run is basically highly personalized. So we don't really yet focus on really like bulk emails. So what we mostly do is like retargeting campaigns, like people that engage with our LinkedIn content. So it's rather like half cold, half warm, right? And yeah, what we also do is like cold email campaigns on like very specialized niche. So Now we also focus on agencies, SaaS agencies, which is definitely working well. And yeah, that's basically how we set it up. But in Q1, it's also expected to be more at scale.
Interesting. What niches are hot nowadays? What industries, what verticals, and what product, if you have data on that?
Okay, so you mean in terms of potential customers for us, or in what sense?
For you and as a general, what you're seeing nowadays?
Okay, definitely a good question. I mean, what's of course quite obvious is the AI movement. So definitely what's quite interesting, like I've tested a lot of AI copywriters. So they are actually pretty fascinating. So there's really like a lot of personalization going on. So being able to do that at scale with like importing a list, getting like recommended emails, I think this is definitely something we keep an eye on. And we also are planning to use more at scale.
What are simple growth hacks that you can recommend to scale up or ARR?
Also, good question. So definitely, I think this is something that is still very underutilized. It's LinkedIn content. So as already mentioned, this is like the only, I would say, organic source that we have, right? We have also mouth-to-mouth referrals, but we put like a huge emphasis on LinkedIn. So posting every day, engaging also with every single comment, and also putting an emphasis on the company account. This also helped us quite getting some leads in. And yeah, so definitely content, and also putting in really big emphasis on referrals. So what we always recommend is like at least 20% of MRR to the referees. And yeah, like what we've seen is definitely working well. It's like this 10-10 split, right? So 10% for the referral and 10% for the referee. And I think these are two which really helped us in the last few months to like get a head start. Yeah.
How do you pick your co-founders?
So as mentioned, I basically joined Freight when the software was already going pretty well, right? He already had a pretty established customer base in France, and it was actually quite interesting. So as mentioned, I really also faced this issue, so I was recommended to Freight, and so I really became also an active user of this solution. And then at some point after I finished at Amazon, I was really thinking back about Better Contact, and told Fred, like suggested Fred that I will join Better Contact as like a sales / growth co-founder. And ever since, it's going pretty well. Yeah.
But how should people pick their co-founders? Is it like pure serendipity, or is there a system at play?
Okay, so from my perspective, I think what's quite important is that co-founders are complementary. So not like two tech guys or two salespeople. I think being able to see the problem from two different angles, and also being able to craft a strategy that includes like both perspectives, this is pretty valuable. And also something which I heard quite often from successful startups, that they complement each other.
What's on your mind nowadays? What fascinates you from a business and personal perspective?
I would say like from a business perspective, that the playbook, like this typical Salesforce playbook, is like rewritten in a way, right? So basically this unpersonalized outbound at scale, I think we're more and more shifting towards a very like hyper personalized outreach. And I mean, it becomes harder and harder to like differentiate on product, on a nice landing page and everything, because LLMs and AI builders, they become better and better. So I think it's great to see that the human touch especially in SaaS becomes more prevalent now over time, and definitely looking forward in 2024 how it plays out.
Where can people find out more about you, Roman?
So like I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, so every day I try to provide some value in a sense, like in like about SaaS or like some growth hack. So my name is Roman Hipp, so if you type that in, it should appear. And we also have a blog which is called bettermail.rocks, where we also have like an aggregation of different cold email experts that basically share the knowledge, and this is like a free resource for like people that want to get started in cold email.
Well, thanks for that. That was Roman Hipp and Charles Cormier for another founderwisdompodcast.com.